You can do things that you always thought you couldn't do.
Very empowering.
If you just
try it.
We have worked together a lot on projects, so he would get off of work, and so it was nights and weekends, and he'd help me. He'd lift the heavy things, and basically he was, brute force, and I was the brains. And
That's fair.
What's your favorite project that you've gotten to be a part of?
And welcome to episode 9 of Hometown Hustle. We are going to have a really good episode today. I'm ready for it.
Of course we will.
So as always, right?
Always.
As per usual, and not just been, much time on the beginning of this because I'm really excited about who we're talking to today and
too.
all of the different things that they do.
Yeah. And it's our first couple.
Yeah.
I'm super excited. I've wanted to have dad and daughter on, and we just hadn't done it yet, or a husband and wife. And so we finally are bringing our very first couple on. So I think it's going to equal a lot to discuss because both of them in their own right are just absolutely incredible. So you want me to tell them just a little bit about this? So I've been teasing you guys with bringing on one of my great friends who does credit cards. And also not only that, so this woman is just incredibly talented. She does, she's a magician with credit card points. They travel all over the world for pennies. It's like a fraction of the cost of what it would actually be if they paid full price for these trips. And so she's incredible in that, but also she is a interior designer, woodworker. She is a social media star. She's just...
I knew none of this until, a little bit ago when you were telling me more about her. And when I say a little bit ago, throughout the week that you've told me a little bit more about her. And now I knew somebody as the credit card person that was coming on.
Yeah.
She is so much more than that.
She
just
is.
Incredibly.
She is
so much more.
She's social media famous. She travels, teaches trainings on how to work with wood and how to build and all these different, she's very well known. So I'm I'm humbled to be considered one of her friends and to have had the opportunity to support her and her husband when they moved back to Elizabethtown in their search for a home. And we found them just a beautiful property over by the lake, and they have transformed that property from a beautiful home in its own right and just added a ton of equity to it. It's gorgeous. And so, I'm super excited for you guys to meet this couple.
Well, and maybe she can teach us a little bit about how to gain followers. Right.
That would be good.
Yeah. So other than that, real quick, how's your week gone? What have you been into since we talked to Mayor Gregory last?
Oh, what a great episode that was with Mayor Gregory. Just such a humbling, he is such a humble leader, and it's just given me a huge appreciation for who we have at the helm of our city.
Absolutely.
So Brittany, a synopsis of your week. How has it been?
I've been in numbers all week. So I haven't thought much else outside of that. I was into baking bread before that, and I have not had time this week. So
I was into baking bread before this
I was
week.
making my own bread. Now we have no bread at the house, okay? All the bread's
She
gone.
hasn't even had time to go to the store.
No,
The kids are like, I want a sandwich. And I'm like,
"What?"
sorry.
That's
We
grab some goldfish.
We are so grateful. She has been dedicated to, it's hard to get a word in with her. She's so focused. So
Yeah.
It's been all about numbers in her world, and we appreciate that. Grafty,
Yeah.
you're back from the Masters.
I'm back. I've got my master's gear.
Speaking of sandwiches, tell me you got a pimento cheese sandwich.
I did, and I thought I would hate it, and it was really good.
I love
It
pimento
was
cheese.
really
I
good.
love
Is that I guess that's a thing.
It's like their big sandwich there. They had 8 different sandwiches. So all of us guys, we all bought one per the group, and we split it in 4 so we could try everything that was there. So
awesome.
And it was great. Going to the clubhouse, gave myself a limit, what I was going to spend, came out, realized I had no self-control. It happens. But then when I heard what everybody else spent, I'm decked out in my master's gear today. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it was incredible experience, top 2 experience of my life. We'll talk about it more some other time, but I'm telling you, if you're Catholic, I would imagine going to the Masters as a golfer is like going to, the Vatican as a Catholic. That's like what it felt like when we were there.
Awesome.
It was a lot of fun. But other than that, getting caught up, got super busy the past couple of days, which was great.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, my week has just been spring is here and the warm weather and the sunshine. It just creates excitement and activity. And so much, not just like on the real estate side, which obviously that spring fever, everybody's ready to get rid of their old house and get a new one. But also just like everybody's alive and wants to get out and go to all the events and get to the park and exercise.
And I texted you that thing earlier. I was like, is it just
happy.
me, or when this time of year comes around, do you just feel more energized?
I just feel happy. I'm like, it was seasonal affective disorder.
Yes.
That was the problem.
100.
I mean, we just been in the dark and in snow
exists.
and then tornadoes and rain
Everything.
and all the stuff. And I was thinking, man, this season has felt so long
It
of
has.
no sun.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm so ready.
Well, that's a quick synopsis of our week. I know, like we said, we were wanting to talk about anything. We could talk for hours to you about that, but I'm really excited to get in this episode.
Me too. I'm very excited. So guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back with Adam and Jen Henderson. Hey guys, and we are back, and I am so excited. I have two very special people here in the studio with us today. Some of my favorite humans. I got the opportunity to meet them. It's probably been maybe 10 years ago, maybe more. And ever since then, they've just been a wonderful addition to my family's lives and my lives. And then as we've gotten to know each other, they are incredibly brilliant guys. So we have Jen Henderson and Adam Henderson. Jen, better known as Jen Woodhouse on social media. You'll want to go at her on Instagram right now because you're going to die over all of the things that she's involved in. So we're super excited to dial into those. Of course, Adam, that does not to state that you are also incredible on your own. She's amazing, but you are also amazing. Adam has had a huge career with the military, and they are just a power couple. Like, one without the other would not have been appropriate to bring on today. We had to bring them on as a couple.
Well, and you told me that, and when we started, I was like, okay, cool. And you get here, and it's the first time I've met you guys, and I was like, I get why she's saying you both have to be on together.
To be more accurate, it would be totally inappropriate to have just me.
It always is inappropriate.
In every possible way.
There we go. So she kind of grounds you a little bit is what I'm getting.
She does.
I love it. It can be definitely, you never know what's going to happen when you're with Adam, okay? It can be very exciting, just not dull.
That's one word for it.
But you've never met someone more polished, professional, also just kind, Jen, and very talented. Like one of the most amazingly talented individuals I know. And that's, I'm not tooting your horn, that's real. So I want to kind of start by just getting to know you guys and having our audience connect with you all. So let's start a little bit back. Where are you guys from originally?
Oh gosh, all over. My dad was in the Air Force, so every 4 years it was a new place. Now we call Nashville home. That's where my family is, my sisters and my parents, and that's eventually where we will end up as well.
I was born and raised in Georgia, little south of Atlanta. Now I've got one brother there, and my other brother, and my parents are down in Alabama.
Okay.
All right.
So then how did you two meet? I've heard
gosh.
this story and it's so cute, but I love to hear it again. So I'm going to let you, Adam, I think you should tell this story. How did you meet John?
I feel like this is going to be way different than the way you might tell it.
So after basic training, I was stationed in Fort Benning, Georgia, and I was in Columbus, and there was a bar that I really liked to go to just across the street, maybe half a block down from my apartment. And I walked in one night, and I was there enough that like I baked cookies on a regular basis and would give them to the bartender.
Oh,
And never pay a cover. So.
Never.
hey, that works out.
So one night
So all I need to do is make cookies?
It happens. You'd be
That's
surprised.
it? Well, that's hard for me. I don't bake. So.
Break and bake.
To be fair, baking.
Okay.
So yeah, so I went in one night and was like, "Hey, what's going on tonight?" And the bartender was like, "Actually, I think there's a musician playing. I think you'd really like her." So I walk in this room, in what they call the listening room, and it's completely dark in there except a spotlight shining down on this angelic woman sitting behind a keyboard with little candles on it and stuff, and she is singing, and I'm like, oh.
Aww. So it was love at first sight.
Real close. If it wasn't that, it was really close. So she's singing a song, and I'm sitting there listening to her, and my whole family is musically inclined. I'm the least of those. My brothers play every musical instrument they sit down to. And I heard her playing and singing, and I was like, holy crap, she is stunning, and girl's got some pipes. And so never at a loss for words. I waited around. Never. Waited around to the end of the night when she was going to come off stage. And so she comes off stage, and everybody in there's like 200 people in there. Everybody wants to go up and talk to her and speak to her. And I'm like, you can go ahead. Go ahead. No, that's fine. Go ahead.
I'm waiting till the beat the
So I got to the end, and I walked up very confident, and I was like, I'd like to buy a CD, please.
That's all you could get out.
So I bought a CD, and I'm walking around with it. And she'll tell you this, that later on she sees me walking around with a CD, and she's like, did he pay for that?
I hope he knows those weren't free.
And I'll tell you, I've been paying for it for 17 years. But yeah, so I walked over to her a little bit later on. I was like, hey, listen, I know you're busy. I would love to talk to you for a little bit if you got some time. She's like, well, I'm trying to get my equipment out. I'm like, well, I can give you a hand. She's like, well, it's very heavy. And I looked at her dead serious. I was like, I am very strong. So I go over to pick up her keyboard, and this thing, it's like picking up a Volkswagen. It's the heaviest thing I've ever lifted at this point. Yeah. And the entire time I'm carrying it down the stairs to take it to her car, all I'm thinking is keep your arm flexed. Keep your arm flexed. Let her see. So we get her loaded in, and we talked for about 2 hours, and she let me know that she was completely and totally in all other ways unavailable whatsoever. And I was like, that is acceptable. I am still very, very interested.
I love a good challenge.
No, wait. But I said, no, I'm practically married.
So practically, I need more information, because that doesn't sound like actually married.
Right. There's a difference.
So I need to know a little more. But yeah, so I was like, hey, listen, whatever it is, I'd love to hear you again. Please, here's my number. Just give me a call when next time you're going to be in town. I'd love to hear from you. And then, like a month or so later, she texted me and was like, hey, I'm going to be in,
I was
Columbus
touring again in your area
at this time. And I was immediately, my first thought was, now I have your number. Oh. So I showed up to that show, and.
Wait, pause. So what happened? Why did you text him? And also, what's the comment about practically married? I need to know that.
Well, I was with a guy for like 7 years, and he had kids, 2 kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were practically married, but
okay. So then, did you become single when you texted her? We're just going back on tour, so you're like, oh, I should let this guy know.
Oh no, what were you doing when you texted me?
I am a shameless self promoter. I'm like, come to my show.
He bought a CD before.
Listen, you weren't the only one I texted. Okay, no.
Look, I know all that to be 100% true, because after several months later, when we actually got together. The first thing we did was go on a tour of the town of Columbus, dropping flyers off to barbershops, nail salons, every possible business that we're like, they might come.
They might come. I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of how we met. And then, so I come to her show the night that she's going to be there. Her show wasn't until.
It's like at 10, so I show up at 6 because I'm going for sound check and all the things.
The bar opens at 6:30.
There you go.
So I went to the bar, and
I show up, and he's there, sitting there like.
I could see.
And I'm like, I told him, I said, my show doesn't start until 10.
I could see the front door of the bar from literally every window in my apartment.
I was like,
so
wow,
I was like, it's just convenient.
Eager. And then I thought,
he's eager.
I said, so that guy's reliable.
By the time her show started, I was about 8 Crown and Cokes in.
That could go really good or really bad very quickly.
So dead serious. She's getting ready to go up on stage, and I was like, hey, listen, I got about 30 seconds of sobriety left before I lose my ever-loving mind, and I really don't want you to see me like that yet. It was great to see you. I'm so sorry, but I really need to leave. So I went back to my apartment, completely passed out on the couch. Next day, I called her to apologize. We talked for 45 minutes or an hour or so, and then I called her again because I enjoyed it the first time, and that just kind of repeated itself. And then one day she was talking to me, and we'd really become friends over the phone. All the relational stuff aside, like we really did genuinely become friends. And she called me one day, and she's like, I broke it off with him. And I'm like, I'm sorry to hear that. She goes, no, you're not. I'm like, no, what are you doing this weekend? So she drove to Atlanta, where my family was. I went and met her. We had sushi and hung out at a park a little bit. And then 2 weeks later, I asked her to marry me.
Oh, really?
2 weeks after our first date.
I'm a both feet kind of guy.
Yeah, like when you know, let's just go for it.
Just
Like,
in.
that's so cute.
So
He's
that
all
was
in
it.
kind
Jen,
of
did you say yes?
And I tricked her
did.
into it.
Jen, you said yes after 2 weeks.
I am
After
very
2 weeks.
convincing.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
And then here we are, 17 years, 2 kids, about 7 houses later. And I say this
It
without
still feels new.
I'm not trying to be silly. She's absolutely the love of my life. I adore every second with her, to include the ones where I am not her favorite person. And she occasionally is less than my favorite person. But she is my best friend and makes me better than what most of you are going to get from this exchange.
Well, I think too, like we had spent quite a bit of time talking through pretty much every scenario that we could think of.
We
You know,
got
like,
to the point where it was,
what
So
does
do you-
a future look like? You know?
oh yeah. We got through all that stuff. We got to the point where it was like, so do you sock, shoe, or sock, shoe?
Yeah, that's right.
Like I remember that question.
That's a thing. I've never been asked that one. That's
Odd thing to ask.
I did ask you that question.
So wait, do you put both socks on first and then shoes, or do you do a sock and a shoe and a sock and a shoe?
At the time, I believe I was sock, shoe. Today, I believe I am sock, shoe.
100% sock, shoe.
sock shoe sounds psychopathic. I know.
Who does that?
What happens if an event takes place?
And you've only got one sock
You're
and one
running
shoe.
around like a psychopath with one sock and shoe on.
And the other barefoot.
They're like, what is wrong with this person? So many things.
I've never. That's like the toilet paper going one way or the other. Like it's just not something I think about or care about.
You
I've
mean the
never
right way or the
thought.
wrong way?
Yeah, exactly. It's
But
over
I
the top. It's got to be over,
definitely
over the
sock,
top,
shoe,
right?
shoe.
Wait, you have to talk about the time that you tried to give me drugs.
Oh no.
Oh, this is fun.
So at the
This
show,
is brand new.
At the show where Jen shows up, where I showed up really, really early.
Yes.
Jen, she's like, I've got a bit of a headache, and I'm like, well, I have some Excedrin.
He's like, I live right
I
across
live
the
right
street.
across
Let me
the street.
run over.
I'll run and grab it. I am very frugal. The jeans I was wearing the night that we met, by the way, I was 28, excuse me. That was the same pair of jeans I owned in high school, and carpenter jeans never go out of style. They're like cargo
anyway.
shorts.
There you go.
He runs to his house. He comes back. And he hands me like this unmarked bottle of pills, and he's like, "I promise, it's Excedrin."
It was
you're in a bar sitting
And I was like,
previously
"I'm
marked.
good."
The bottle was previously marked. The label just wore off.
It
because
rubbed off.
It looks like I'm just gonna suffer with a headache
I've
the
had
rest of the
that bottle
night.
since college. I would buy new bottles and just dump it in.
I was like,
I'm like, no, this pill with an E on it, I promise.
This
Just
almost
Excedrin.
complete stranger is giving me a random pill bottle with
I'm like,
nothing on
what?
it.
It's cool. I'll take one. Show you.
Let me show you. It's okay.
She's like, still,
good.
I'm okay.
I'm good.
So kind. So kind.
I love it.
Is he still that frugal?
Dude, I rolled around. She has made me appreciate the finer things in life.
There you go.
I rolled around for 3 years with a broken set of headphones because I didn't want to spend the $13 because that's how much I spent on headphones to buy a new pair.
Yeah.
That's great.
The coolest thing ever about iPhones is the fact that they come with headphones.
You don't have to pay. You don't have to purchase
This is
them.
amazing. This is wonderful.
So is that the only time you get new headphones? Is when you get a new iPhone?
Once every 3 years.
There you go.
That's it.
Well, that's awesome. So then how did you make your way? So we know there's 2 kids, which Evie and Liam. So tell us a little bit about their ages.
Oh my gosh, they're 12 and 14 now.
She knows more about it than I do.
Adam's like, I have children.
I mean, there's 2 small people that run around my house.
They're the
They're
sweetest
awesome.
kids.
Yeah, they're just so cool, and they're at a great age right now where they're just so fun to like discover when they talk about things, and I'm like, this is hilarious. Like they're just really clever too. And,
Yeah.
and I'm
They're like
this
little.
is-
They're like almost adults. Like you can have like adult level conversations. and
Liam is the wittiest kid ever.
I can
I
tell
know,
that.
He will
he's so
come off-
funny.
He will come off with stuff sometimes, and I'm like,
I'm like, where
Look.
did you get that from?
I don't know where he got that from, but overall, that's me. That comes from this.
Why do I get like an HGTV show out of this family? That's what I get out of this. That's the
that's
vibes
in the
I'm
works,
picking up.
right? Like, when's that going to happen?
Are you listening, HGTV?
Yeah. This is great.
Okay, so then of course, you're in the military, so you've had a long career. You're about to retire.
I am 21 years, 4 months is how long I've been in the military. I'll retire coming in October.
Congratulations. Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Thank you for your service.
No, honestly, thank you guys for my service. It's no, I mean,
It's always he says that every time, and I'm like, that's still awkward.
well, it's an awkward situation. No, I mean, the opportunities the military's provided me have been tremendous. I will tell you, for anybody who doesn't know what's next, and they're just getting ready to graduate high school or college, and they're like, I don't really know what I want to do. Military is a cheat code for life. Mm-hmm. You can go into the military, you can get training, you can get an education, you can figure some things out, but you'll get it done with a good paycheck, support, opportunities. When I left I left the military previously for about 10 months when I was a captain, and when I left, I had a bachelor's degree in criminal justice with a 2.16 grade point average because no reason.
We used to say C's get degrees,
Because nobody needs to know that. You have a degree.
I went back into the military, and after going back into the military, I was afforded the opportunity to earn 2 master's degrees.
That's awesome.
Really enjoyed the opportunities that the Army provided to us. We've got to move around. We've got to see the world, at least mostly the southeast parts of the United States, roughly speaking. But yeah, it's been a fantastic career. I've loved it. It was a calling.
Yeah. So that brought you to Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
It did.
So how long? I mean, you all were here for. I mean, like I said, I can't remember. I had to be 18 or 19 when I first met you all.
2013.
So. Okay.
Yeah, Liam was 3 months old.
Oh,
he's now 12.
I forgot that he was that little.
Yeah, we moved here and rented from your dad.
I know. It was so fun. Like to think that this relationship that we have has grown from just that random happenstance. You could have rented anywhere and you ended up right there in my parents' rental home. So,
and we lived there for 3 years, and then we had to move away, and we did a few other duty stations. Was it Alabama and then Texas? And
Texas.
How long ago were we away? 7
we
years?
were here 13 to 15, and then in 15 we went to Montgomery, Alabama, to the Air Command and Staff College, and then from there we went to Fort Hood, Texas, and then we came back here.
Yeah, and then we came back. Yeah, and when we were deciding on where to come back, Elizabethtown or Fort Knox was one of the options, and I thought, well, we loved it there last time. We have community there. Mm-hmm. Let's go back, and it's close to Nashville. Yeah.
So that's awesome. Well, and I was super excited. I got to work with you guys on helping you all find your home that you live in, and that was memorable.
We're dug in like Alabama ticks with your family. we rented from your dad.
Yeah.
We purchased from you. I believe one of your sisters wrote our first mortgage.
That's right.
Your other sister has done the painting for all of our house. One of your brothers did the architecture for Jen's shop. The other brother was the general contractor for all of the building itself.
Yeah.
Like, the only way we get further connected is if one of my kids marries one of the Branton.
Hey, we're working towards that. Okay, we got some nephews, we got some nieces. No, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like just connecting with you guys and remaining friends. So, so let's talk about. So you made your way here, and how did I really wanted to shine some light on how you got started in what you do now. So, give us kind of an overview of what you've created and all of the different things that you're involved in.
Why are you looking at me like that?
This is your story. I love it. It's one of my favorites.
Well, so I was pregnant with Evie, and when a woman is pregnant, usually they have this like nesting instinct where they're like organizing the closets and getting the baby ready for, the house ready for the baby. And then mine just kind of manifested itself into like building things. I found a website. This was,
2010.
She's now 14. So 15 years ago. And I found a website, and so we had this apartment in Virginia, and and you walk in and you had a long hallway before you go into the rest of the house. And we would kick off our shoes. And I was like, oh, I cannot stand all of the shoes right here. And Adam's like, oh, we can just get one of those like over the door things where the little pouches,
That's where my head goes.
It would work.
And I thought, I was like, this is why you're not allowed to make decisions.
She's like, thank you for your input.
Absolutely not.
Don't speak.
And so I start looking, Pottery Barn, all the, I'm like, man, these things are so expensive, and we're newly married and trying to make our house a home. I'm like, okay. And then I stumble across this website, and she's now one of my good friends and business partners, Anna White, and she would write plans where it's like, okay, these are the tools that you get. This is the way that you put these things together, and this is how you build things. This is how you operate a power tool. And I was like, I think I can do this. And so I tell him, I'm like, hey, do you think we can go to Home Depot and maybe get some tools?
Yeah, tools? Yeah. We can, man.
Adam's like, I'm here for
we can
this.
get tools.
So, all we had was a drill, I think. And then, so I go to Home Depot and I grab all the lumber, and, I've got this 6-month belly toting the lumber rack behind me. And I tell the guy, I need these cuts made. And it's like an extensive cut list. And he's like, well, we usually just cut things so that they'll fit in your car. Like, we don't do woodworking.
You say no to this fix.
Yeah.
Right?
And I was like, he's like, don't you own a saw? And I was like, do I look like I own a saw? And so he makes all the cuts, and then I take all those pieces home and then I assemble it. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's easier than I thought. Let's do it again. And then for my first Mother's Day, he got me a compound miter saw.
Aww.
And so I've been building
That's
ever
what every
since.
mother wants for
Well, to be fair, I bought her the compound miter saw, but I was like, hey, I'll build you a workbench before so you can get started.
Yeah.
I'm 6 feet tall. Jen is not. So we then had to build her a step stool.
I was going to say, her feet were dangling when she was sitting on this.
She's like jumping. Yeah.
Yeah, but we've been building ever since. So, and then it just kind of became like, oh, wow, I can build this dining table for, $100 where you buy it on Restoration Hardware for $2,000. And it's like.
Well, the dining table, I think you actually ate there. I know your brother did.
Yeah.
The one that we had at the house we were in from your dad was one that she was like, we can build this. Let's do it.
Yeah. So then I started posting my projects online. And I told him, I was like, I think I want to write a blog. And he's like, what's a blog? This was like literally
early
blogs,
social media.
Yeah.
I would say this was the podcast. That was the podcast. A podcast now is what a blog was then. Like, it was the new thing.
They're
Everybody
like,
was
what is
following them.
happening?
Everybody was reading them. And
She's like, I want to do a blog. I'm like, what is that, chicken?
Do we cook it?
So I started posting the plans and stuff online where it reads like a recipe. So if you can follow a recipe, then you can build a table. And then just started growing an audience, and a lot of them were stay-at-home moms like me, and they were like, hey, this girl's doing it. I feel like I can do it too. And so they would write to me and be like, hey, I made my kids' bed and they sleep in it every night, or we eat dinner at the dining table that I made, and I can't believe how cheap it was. And, of course, lumber prices now are not good. Back then, it was great.
One of my favorite stories from it is when she really first got started, there was a conference that took place every year in Atlanta, and she'd really wanted to go. And she's like, hey, there's a conference in Atlanta. I kind of want to go. I was like, all right, in Atlanta, my family lives there. We can go visit family. That's okay. She goes, and the tickets are $275. I was like,
well, the shot in the dark was I wrote to them and I was like, hey, I can teach a class on how to do, beginner work.
The promoter in you.
Yeah. So
100%.
The promoter.
So I was like, so if you cover my travel and all that, then I'll come teach your class. And it was a total shot in the dark because I was like, I didn't know anybody actually reading my blog except my mom, maybe on Tuesdays. I don't know.
that's right.
And so when they said yes, I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess we're doing this.
So we went down to Atlanta. She taught the class. But my favorite part about all of it is the class was on building a one-board bench. Mm-hmm. And she came back and she was telling me about it. And her excitement about the story was, so I was teaching this class, and it's 98% women in this class. And I asked I was like, hey, do one of you want to come up here and make the cut with the saw? And everybody's a little nervous and stuff. And finally one was like, yeah, I'd like to do it. So she comes up there and Jen's like, okay, gives her the glasses. Says, okay, here's what you do. Here's how it works. Here's how you want to make the cut. So the woman does it. And then she's like, the woman, and Jen's telling me the story, the woman's like, you see this light switch get flipped. And she's like, can I do that again? And Jen's like her excitement and
she was like, my husband's never going to believe this. Can you take my picture while I do?
about literally opening up an entire world of you can do things that you always thought you couldn't do.
Very empowering.
If you just
try it.
And
I think too, it was in a way that like the way that I would present my projects was very accessible. It wasn't like over complicated, or it wasn't like you need all these fancy tools. It was very basic. You need maybe a drill, a saw, and a tape measure, and off the shelf lumber, you know.
And there's something I think to be said about the environment of doing something like that too, because even as a guy, I get intimidated. And when I say even as a guy, there's this thought process that guys work with tools, right? Mm-hmm. These are calculator calluses. These things they do not work with tools. And so even I get intimidated going around some of my buddies who are, you know, farmers or big time into that stuff. And I get nervous. So you putting on a class like that, speak to what that does to, like you said, empower people to feel like they're in a safe space where they can learn that, where they're not getting judged, where they're not, you know, for not already knowing something like that.
And to get to be the cheerleader for somebody else to do that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Jen always says when she's doing a blog or Instagram, she has one of 3 goals. If she can hit all 3, it's great, but it's to inspire, educate, and entertain. And I personally think the education part is, you can do this. Mm-hmm. The inspire part is like, don't you want to?
Yeah.
But the education part, I mean, obviously, you know, she's teaching a technical skill set of, you know, hey, you don't want to put the wood, the saw blade down on the wood and then start the saw. That's a bad way to go. She showed me. But
I feel like that's
scared
how
me a lot of times. I'm like, oh no.
I have scars to show what a router can do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, those are the moments for me that we talked about her going to that first conference, and when she first told me the ticket price, I kid you not, inside my head there was that initial cringe because I am frugal. But there was this voice that.
But you didn't have to pay it because they were.
No, but I didn't. It. But there was a voice inside. There was a voice inside of me, legitimately. I'm dead serious. That was like, shut up and support what she's doing. Just go with this. And I was like, all right, I'm whole hog. Let's do it. So I'm all the way in, and good God, it's been an insane rodeo ride ever since.
Yeah, and I think too, because everything was brand new, you know, and it still is pretty much the Wild West. But like then sponsors. So for example, when I showed up at the conference, I had tool sponsors, Home Depot and Craig Tool and like all Simpson Strong Tie, all of these sponsors that I still work with. They were wanting to work with me, and they were like, hey, you know, we love your projects. And I was like, you read my blog? I didn't know anyone, you know, and then the fact that they were willing to kind of just explore this partnership in this new landscape together was really cool. And it was a collaborative thing. And so I thought, and that was really the first time that I looked at it as a business. And I thought, well, there really could be some opportunity here. And so that's kind of when this partnership started. And then also just with all of the projects that came, the audience grew because you're constantly putting content out. And yeah.
Like I said, you're going to need to go at her on Instagram, Jen Woodhouse. And you have a YouTube channel. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, YouTube,
You're on Facebook,
Instagram, Facebook, all the things. Like you have to be everywhere all the time.
Yes, you do. But I mean, these projects are incredible. Like what when I got to help her find their home, help both of them, like we picked a beautiful house, but it has been completely transformed from top to bottom with your all's talent. And so my question is, what has that felt like to go from what was just like a passion project, what was just something that you wanted to do really just to benefit your personal life, and then watching it grow into, I mean, over 100,000 followers on Instagram alone. I mean, and these are women that I don't know that you know this. You inspired me. I'm not a magical woodworking person. In fact, I bought myself a new saw maybe like 6 months ago. It's still in the box. I've been a little too busy lately to get it out. But when right after we got married, we bought just a little old table set from Kmart, and that was all our budget could afford.
Right.
Well, you can imagine the top of that table deteriorated super quick, and so we were getting ready to move, and I'm looking at table prices, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like we can't afford to buy a table right now. And I remember Crystal was there talking to me, and she was like, well,
Jen taught me how to do tables. We can just take this thing apart and put boards on top and reuse the legs, which we ended up not using the legs. It's Kmart wood. So we ended up building a freaking table, and it's still at my house today.
I love that.
Sitting there in my dining room. It's what feeds my friends, what my family gathers around it, my kids eat at it and do crafts. And so like that was all inspired by
so cool.
you and your plans. We actually printed off your plans. So, I mean, it is cool how you've taken something that, I think a lot of women approach that, and you talk about men too. Like, it's terrifying. Like, I mean, I do it. I've been in construction, so it's a little less scary for me. I mean, I've been around power tools and been around construction sites all my life. But even then, where do I start? Like, what kind of wood do I need? What tools do I need for this project? And like her social media breaks it down into just step-by-step baby steps where it's just like cooking dinner, right? Like if you can read a recipe card for dinner and just follow how long it goes in the oven, you can build yourself a whole table. Like it's really amazing.
Or renovate a kitchen, it's all.
Well, and you're self-taught. Like I would assume this started in the same way your followers are starting, with just organic education and learning and
just an idea.
Yeah,
that
it's
pops
all
up.
Google University and YouTube University, and just trial and error. That really is. I make a lot of the mistakes, and so when I do that, and then I write the tutorials, the step by step, then I think of okay, this didn't work or this did work. Here's a tip here, and so I always say like I make all the mistakes so you guys don't have to.
We try not to film those.
Well, I mean, like it's beautiful, like beds, like your bunk bed you built for Evie's bedroom, and it's like a whole playhouse inside her bedroom. Like there's so many. What's your favorite project that you've gotten to be a part of?
Oh gosh,
that's got to be a tough one.
That's got to be. Yeah. That's a good question. I would have a hard time picking two.
I have two.
You have two. Okay, what is yours?
So my favorite project for build was Evie's barn door lofted bed we did in Texas. It was a full-size bed with barn doors that could close and open, a little, not ladder, but like a little staircase up to it. And I mean, had a roof on it. It was just, we would crawl.
It was super fun. All four of us would be up there like
we would crawl up in there.
Stories.
We do devotions or bedtime stories or, that kind of stuff. Just hang out, do that kind of stuff. So as builds go, that was my favorite because the execution was amazing. The matter of fact, when we got to leave Texas, we were posting on Facebook Marketplace or Let Go or one of those things, and somebody was like, "I want to see a picture of the actual thing, not a magazine photo." And it's like, that was it. You see that little girl? That's my daughter.
It's amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing. We'll include the link. You need to go find that picture. That's amazing.
That was my favorite build. My favorite renovation.
The fireplace, right? Or the basement?
The basement.
Oh, the theater.
The fireplace is lovely. We have an outdoor fireplace we did. Absolutely love sitting out there, having a bourbon with my buddies or a cigar. That's fantastic. But the basement renovation we did, we took a basement that like I would go down into, and she's like, "I'm good."
I'm not going down.
It was all storage stuff. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was a finished basement, but it was
just very bland.
It was the catch-all for when we moved in. There were still boxes
down there.
100%. Now it's a 1930s inspired Art Deco theater. So like I play Call of Duty on an 8-foot screen.
That's awesome. Sick. I'm jealous.
Jen is not a fan of me playing Call of Duty. But like, we'll have friends over and we go down for movie night, and like it's so comfortable. And we finished the outdoor fireplace and the movie theater right as COVID came in, and
that's a perfect time to finish that.
Nobody gets to leave your house.
Yeah,
and you didn't have to pay the wood price.
Fine.
Yeah, that's right. Well, they closed down all the theaters, and so we're like, we're good.
Like golden. So I just need to get her on action flicks and stop watching Lifetime.
And you didn't have to pay all the expensive wood prices because you did it right before COVID hit.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't think there's a single aspect of your all's home that you haven't touched. I mean, it's pretty much.
Well, we haven't done our primary bedroom, and then the kids' bathroom. They have a Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
I haven't done that either. And then there's the basement.
On the list.
Yeah, that's on the list.
They'll get there eventually, right?
We have the other.
Those are more episodes though of her and fun articles to be able to read.
I want to put a bathroom. I want to put like a shower in the basement.
What? There's a bathroom already down there. Why?
But there's no shower. We'll talk about it.
Okay, this leads me into the perfect question. So, Adam, you are going to be transitioning into Jen's world after retirement.
I am.
So, tell me a little bit about this transition. And Jen, how are you feeling?
That was a happy smile. That was a scared smile. That's what I just saw on those two smiles.
Happily married for 17 and a half years.
We are very excited.
Yeah.
So what I do in the Army and what I've done for the last 20 years is functionally it's data analytics. I look at what are your capabilities, your resources, your shortfalls. How do we develop mitigation strategies? How do we get you to be able to do what you need to do? It really does come down to data analytics. Jen's least favorite part of what she does is data analytics. And I'm like, spreadsheets? Oh my God, I can do this.
Oh my God, you sound like Brittany. She's not on camera today, but that is Brittany. Brittany's like, spreadsheets is my love language.
We're going to talk later. Power BI, I'm so into it.
We were just talking about this before we came on too, and I was talking to her on the phone with spreadsheets and how useful they can be.
My eyes go cross-eyed. I'm like, this is not for me.
So for most folks, I totally understand that. When you look at it like a normal human being, yeah, 100%. But what you have to understand is that all of the information is there. It's just a matter of, do you understand how it's organized?
That's my problem. I just don't know. I don't understand the analyzing it part.
How it's analyzed, how it's organized, and then what do you do with that?
Yeah.
So I literally have, I think, 6 courses lined up right now that I'm going to be starting in June, and then some of our business partners that we work with, they do data analytics along with a lot of digital media stuff. So I'm going to talk with them. I've already talked to them a little bit about helping me understand better the world and the language, because it's the same problem set that I've dealt with in the military.
Just a different language.
But it's a different language. So I've got to learn the language. I've got to learn a little bit about how that works. And then, we talked about it a little bit on the way over here, the concerns of us working together and how that's going to be. And I'm like, look, I'm going to approach this like I have felt everything for the last 17 years. Like, look, when we're out and about, yeah, I'm the man of the house. She's in charge.
That's great.
I put my pants on one leg at a time like everybody else, but it's the pants she picks out and the one she tells me to wear.
That's great.
But no. So joking aside, I mean, it is Jen Woodhouse, the House of Wood, a DIY life, a military wife, and it's her business. I am here to be nothing but a cheerleader. Fun fact: was an actual collegiate cheerleader, have a national championship.
There you go.
That's amazing.
Spirit fingers.
I am not surprised by that whatsoever.
But yeah, so like I have no trepidation whatsoever. But that's part of the balance between the two of us.
Yeah.
So what does that support mean for you? Like with him coming on board more on a full-ish time role, what does that mean to you to know that you've got that much support though?
He helps too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be a whole new world. I think we have worked together a lot on projects, so he would get off of work, and so it was nights and weekends, and he'd help me. He'd lift the heavy things, and basically he was, brute force, and I was the brains. And
That's fair. That's just fair.
But so
He's
in
like,
that capacity, yeah,
You've been flexing since the beginning of your relationship. That
Ever
piano started there.
Hasn't stopped at all.
She was like, well, he can help me with my projects.
Yeah. So he does the heavy lifting, but so we have worked together in that way. I don't know. The dynamic of now he comes to work for JenWoodhouse.com is a little bit nerve-wracking for me, because I don't know how that's going to change our dynamic. Like I don't, how like a wife doesn't want to be a mother to her husband. I don't want to be a boss, so I don't know.
Oh, I'm curious to see how this goes. I'm going to check in with you guys.
But she's pretty good at it.
I'm telling you, I'm convinced this is an HGTV show.
It is an HGTV.
I'm
I've been saying that
convinced.
since I met them. I'm like, I mean, they're just yin and yang, so perfectly.
So we do have a very specific balance that works for us. Jen will absolutely put on blinders and she will tunnel vision into projects. And I'll be like, we have to feed the kids. Which is usually my way of saying.
Those little humans walking around, right?
Yeah, they're living off a sleeve of saltines. They're fine.
But me saying something like, hey, we've got to feed the kids is usually my way of saying, I'm hungry.
That's right.
I'm a kid.
Yeah.
I'm one of the kids.
I was including myself in that count.
Yeah,
You're
'cause
hungry.
I'll work until it's done, and that could be forever. But you do a great job of being like, no, we have a stopping point. We are going to be stopping to eat and do all the things. So there is a good balance. But I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
see
so
how it works out.
Jen will do this. I will wake up on a Saturday morning, and I'm like, okay, I know we wanted to work on this, and we want to work on that. We want to work on those things. So, like, what are the things we need to get accomplished today? she has trouble with that question because in her mind is
everything,
all of them,
as much of it as we can until we pass out. Whereas I'm like, no. I want a list of the deliverables for the day, because once I hit, like I am stop talking. Let's go
and get as much done on that list and knock the list out.
Well, and part of that goes.
But see, I keep adding to the list. Once
It's
we knock
never ending.
those,
Jen's like, we just finished this. We can do this too.
She adds new lists to the list. Well, but part of that is because Jen will wake up and she is like a boiler. She slowly turns up throughout the day. So it'll be 2:00 in the morning and she is just like
firing on all cylinders. Whereas he's early, and
I wake up at 4:00 in the morning, and I wake up
and
like
he's
this.
going.
Let's go.
I'm a Jen. No,
Let's
it
go.
takes me a little off throughout the day.
So our op tempo is a little different, where he's definitely morning and I'm night. And
I think it's medical. We're on different circadian rhythms. That's all it is.
my whole life.
At least 17 years. No, so I'll wake up at 4:00 in the morning, and then by 5:00 in the afternoon, I'm like, okay,
He's done.
So this day is complete.
And I'm just getting started.
And
And she's like,
let's
what
go.
do you mean? You mean like we finished starting and we're ready to go?
So with you guys, with you starting to come on and do more things, it's kind of got to feel, not that it already isn't, but a little bit more of maybe a family business. So speak about maybe, have your kids taken any interest in some of the stuff that you all are doing? Do you see them hopefully maybe wanting to step into this world one day?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Well, we do involve them because a lot of the sponsors, we do kid projects, and the Home Depot, they do the kids
Their faces
workshop.
are featured a lot.
Yeah, they're in it. I wouldn't say they enjoy or like really want to do it, but they will do it. They do tell me that, Mom, you told me that you owe me $60 a video.
100%.
So I do love it.
That's great.
You didn't pay me for last quarter.
Good. You had your training
And
little
somebody's about to have some
entrepreneurs.
spreadsheets keeping that up too.
You ain't joking. Evie will be the one with the spreadsheets, and Liam will be the one either in front of the camera or
It's so funny.
behind camera with a tool.
It's hilarious though. So Evie is very outgoing. She's an extrovert, just seeks out just connection to people, and she loves people. And then Liam is more reserved. But then when the cameras turn on, it's so different. They switch, and Liam just becomes this ham, and out of nowhere, we're like, "What in the world?" And then Evie kind of shrinks a little bit.
more
Yeah.
What was the video that we did with the kids workshops? And we ended up doing like some silly stuff with camera work with Liam, but Liam in the outtakes of it.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Good God. Like
I loved it.
I'm peeing myself laughing. This
so funny.
kid
Yeah.
is just hysterical.
But then like Evie though, I don't know, she's larger than life in real life, and then on camera she gets shy.
100%.
Another part of your business is your credit card
gosh.
travel. And I talked
I am
about this
so ready
early
for
on in
this.
an episode.
I am so
And
ready for this part too.
So
Do it.
Grafton's been like asking me, is the credit card lady coming on soon? Because I need to learn about this.
Well, so
I'm like, her name is Jen.
I've got a little brother who's in the military. He's an officer over, but he's in Germany right now.
Okay.
So we're about to take a rather large trip, hopefully to Germany this fall. So I start looking, and I'm doing all my research on the different credit cards and
I can
points
get you
to
there for $11.
See, that's what I did. This is what I'm talking
See,
about.
this is-
And I've seen some of the TikToks. You kind of get lost in it, but it's a lot. So there's a lot going on with it.
So we don't have time to dive into it at length, but here's what I would like to know. A couple, like maybe give them 3 tips on how to get started with credit card points and direct them to where to follow all of your tips. Because, guys, she has spreadsheets and all the newsletters, and she sends out what cards to get. And we are probably there. I'm going to be traveling to Italy for pennies.
We are going to make it happen.
I've been working so hard at this with credit card points and stuff, and she's been helping me get organized. So 3 tips, and where do they go to get more information to connect with you on that?
So the jenwoodhouse.com is really where it is. There's a travel category, so they can look through there and see all the posts. But in a nutshell, you use your everyday expenses, your monthly, your bills, your groceries, your gas, everything that you would normally spend your money on, our federal taxes just now that we had to pay, and leverage that with a credit card. So whenever we have a big expense coming up, tuition, or we had to put roofs on the house, and all of those things. We open up a new credit card, and a certain one or the right strategy with a welcome bonus. And so it'll say, you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months of owning this card, and then you earn 100,000 points. And so that's really the fastest way that you can accrue the most points. So that's what we do, is we take our everyday spend and leverage that and earn value from those required expenses. So, for example, we pay our taxes with a credit card because we have a hefty tax bill. And so we're like, okay, we're going to open up a couple credit cards and then earn. And then I think a couple of years ago, we earned like 400,000 points just in one fell swoop. And that paid for our trip to Italy. So
brilliant strategy.
I thought my 150 was good that I just got, and she's talking 400,000. I'm like, I'm not doing it right.
Well, it's these opening bonuses.
The opening bonuses,
yes.
But I'm telling you, you got to be careful. You got to be careful with it for a couple of reasons. One, you're not spending extra money to get there. Spend the money that you have to spend to live. Do that. Mm-hmm. But the danger that I'm most concerned about for you and the nearness that you're talking about of this trip is once you ride on the front side of that curtain in the plane.
That's what I hear. You don't want to go back.
I remember before we got down this path, I would be in the back side of the curtain, and I'm like, why can't I just use that bathroom right there? Because I'm right here. And now that I'm on the other side of the curtain, I'm like, could you people please? What kind of show are you running? You need those people back there. So there's a risk.
Well, I would also say, like with credit cards, it can be a really lucrative tool, but it can also be very dangerous. So unless you are using your credit card as a debit card, you're not charging anything that you can't pay cash for. And you're not carrying a balance. That's really the trick is to be financially responsible enough where these credit cards are not going to bite you in the ass.
Okay, so give our listeners, you're good. Give our listeners, just give them a couple trips that you've taken, what it could have cost and what you paid to go. So you guys are going to want to go to her website. Go onto the travel link, jenwoodhouse.com.
I'm like waiting for this to be done to go look on the website now.
Can we go with like maybe 3 favorite trips?
Okay, so 3, what they would have cost and what they ended up costing.
Yeah. So before I do that, just the newsletter is a weekly newsletter, so it'll walk you through the process because there is a strategy.
There is.
So it'll say, okay, just break it down every week. So then you're kind of set up for success. Okay, so trips. We did Italy, the 4 of us, 4 business class flights to Italy. And then we stayed 2 weeks. All of our hotels were on points, paid for on points. So it was free hotels. And I say free because we used our normal monthly expenses and then earned these points. And then now we convert those points into hotel stays
through
or
transferring them to the hotel places,
right.
Getting transfer bonuses, all that kind of stuff.
So basically, once you have these points, if they partner with airline and hotels, you could say, okay, I'm going to turn these American Express points and convert them into a flight on Emirates. We flew Emirates to Italy. And
so jealous.
So what would it have cost you if you had paid for all of that?
It was probably like a $40,000 trip. But of course, okay, caveat to that. It might have been a $40,000 trip, but that's not a trip that we would ever take. So I don't know if that's really a fair assessment.
Frugal.
However, it would have cost to stay in the hotels that we stay because they're luxurious hotels and it's luxurious business class. All of these ritzy things that we never would have be able to afford it in the first place. We're able to do that. So it would have been a $40,000 trip, but we ended up paying for the flights. The 4 of us in business class from the U.S. to Italy was $104 each. So
that's insane.
That's so
points.
Amazing.
So
do you know the drinks are free in business class?
I didn't
guarantee
actually.
you I made money on that trip. Made money.
That's great.
Yeah. And so, it really is I would say 90% discount basically. And yeah. And in fact, we're going to Japan next month and our plane ticket is $5.60.
That's awesome.
We're just suffering for Jesus.
That's
no,
great.
we just have to be strategic about.
Well, I promised myself when I went to London last year when I was telling them that and I sat in the very back of the plane. And when I chose my seat, there wasn't anybody behind me. So it's like, I can lean back and not make anybody feel bad. What I didn't realize was it was getting smaller back there. And it turned in, my knees were like this, and I'm barely able to lean back, and my knees are crunching. I'm like, I don't want to do this again. So I'm going to start looking into this credit card points situation and how you can make it work.
Well, I look at it as also an investment, right? When you travel that far, 9, 10, 12 hours, whatever, over the pond, and you are in such an uncomfortable position for that, like you feel like crap, and you really have to recover when you get to where you're going. Whereas if you are laying down in business class and you're doing all the things where everybody's waiting on you, and you wake up refreshed, and then you can hit the ground running at your destination, and now you know it's an investment.
And a lot of stuff that comes with those, like when you're traveling in business class, you're getting into the business class lounge.
Yeah, the lounges,
so for us,
meals and things like that. Yeah.
I guess
showers.
The way sometimes the way that I've described it is that when we go on a vacation, on a trip, the trip starts. The vacation starts
when we leave the house. Yeah.
Not like when you touch down over there.
Yeah, because most
the flight's
people,
so miserable.
Right. Most people think they have to endure the flight to get to their vacation, whereas like that, it becomes a part of it, and it's an adventure. And
the
it's
most
really
work
fun.
I want to do is lifting a bag into the overhead and out.
That's it.
And after that, I'm like, no, thank you. No more champagne.
But you do have to. But yeah, the power of credit card points will get you there for sure.
But it allows you to live a luxurious life on a budget. At the end of the day, if you do it right,
100%. Yeah.
It's I mean,
it just opens up doors that you couldn't have got. You wouldn't have paid $40,000 for that trip.
Right.
Instead, it's just opened a door, and they do. I mean, just how many other places have you been to recently with the kids? And they've gotten to see the world. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
well, we were
multiple.
traveling probably once a month, I think.
In the last, I'm going to say 2 years, the ones off the top of my head: Turkey, Paris, Amsterdam, Italy, Mexico City, Cancun,
Belgium.
more times than I can count, Belgium. We just got back from, we've done Moab. We've done New York City. We go to Manhattan.
Probably every other month.
We go to Manhattan often enough that if I go between the month of January and March, I take a birthday present to Chris, who works the front desk at the Thompson Hotel, because his birthday is February 16th.
That's cute.
And,
that's awesome.
And we know him well enough to know that, and we'll, so yeah.
Yeah, and then we've got Japan and the UK and Scotland and where else?
Well, I mean,
coming up.
Oh,
okay,
gosh.
so have I not given you enough reasons to follow this lady?
I know.
Just to give you a little insight, I go over and we were talking about how I really want to go to Venice, and so I went over.
We're gonna get you there. Come on.
I'm gonna be there, and I will tag you in every single photo. So I went over and sat down with her, but this isn't something she just did overnight. All of this research is now handed to you guys to be able to learn and grow from, but it's spreadsheets, and she has theories, and you got to open this card and this card. I mean,
in this
you've
order.
worked. It's not like it just magically happened. I mean, this is she's just incredibly brilliant. I mean, in all aspects and ways.
No, I just think I have a lot of time on my hands.
I've cooked dinner many nights.
That's right.
No,
where I just deep dive into, researching things.
But whether you're talking about the home renovation, building something from it didn't exist in the world and there was an idea, or the travel stuff, the way that I always describe my wife I've actually, in the last week, I was down in Alabama visiting my parents, and I was telling them about, all the stuff we've been doing, what's going on. And they're like, man, your wife is just amazing. And I'm like, yeah, she is. But what she does is, it doesn't matter the problem. Jen goes all the way to the bone on research. And there's nothing she hasn't read or researched or whatever. I mean, she'll tell me something that she's looking at doing. And I'm like, well, have you thought about this? And she's like, yes. Could you just let me tell you.
She's like,
I was there 4 weeks ago.
I did it.
6.
No.
So yeah,
awesome.
No, it's nothing special. I just do the legwork. That's it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what people don't want to do,
Correct.
unfortunately.
They want the easy button, that's amazing.
we live in a Twitter attention span world.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't have that, but this one, good God.
She's amazing. You got a good one, Adam. I mean, not that Jen didn't get she got a funny one.
No, to be fair, and in all candor, there's 2 things in the world that my wife is not great at.
Great.
One is her choice in men. Yay me. And 2, I love you. Vacuum.
Vacuuming, I thought.
And she knew exactly what he was going to say.
Amy, come on. Like, you can't know your faults too. This is unrealistic.
That's hilarious. So okay. So what are we looking forward to? Obviously, Adam. That may be something Jen's looking forward to. But Adam's joining the team. Do we have any big projects on the horizon? What's coming? What are you excited about? Like, what's getting you out of bed in the morning? Like, just tell us about the future of Jen Woodhouse.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be ramping up. So the last few years, I kind of took a hiatus because just the landscape of the world, and it just didn't feel right sharing all this stuff with so much heaviness. And so I thought, I don't know how to find my voice here again, or I don't know how to exist here. So with him coming on and taking some of the workload, we're just going to, it's like, we're going to get started again. And I'm a little bit
super
scared,
excited.
We do have a ton of projects in line. We have to build 3 pergolas in 3 days, which is coming. Let's see.
I'm
and then
super
the travel.
excited about that project, by the way.
Yes. And it'll be on.
There's also a shed somewhere in there.
Yeah, shed. So lots of outdoor stuff because of the weather. The big one is we're looking for land to build our forever home.
Yay.
She's looking for land.
Yes.
I am there. I'm physically present while this is happening.
I think that's super exciting.
No, it really is, honestly. We've got a lot of stuff, a lot of irons in the fire. But the excitement, honestly, is for most of the time that she's been doing this and in our marriage, I'm a part-time player, because I'll come home from work and she wants to talk about all the things, and I am exhausted, because while the job I do in the military isn't physically exhausting, it is problem solving from arrival to departure all the time. So I come home and I'm like, you know what sounds great? Doing nothing.
You want to go into your nothing box.
I love the nothing box. Whereas
So now he'll be full-time and
now it'll be a whole different dynamic.
To not have a distraction of another full-time career where I'm like, no, like the purpose that I wake up for in the morning is do this. Yeah. My purpose for waking up, in the future when I'm full-time working for the House of Wood, is getting her to get off work at 5.
That's not going to happen. I'm going to tell you right now.
I'll say ish.
She said, don't limit me.
I'll say ish. Or to get you to work about 5 a.m.
Also,
which one's worse? Yeah, which one's worse? The 5 p.m. stopping or the 5 a.m. starting?
Actually, I have been waking up really early, and it's been fine.
Waking up or getting up?
Waking up.
Just want to make sure details matter.
There's a difference, right?
Well, if you can't tell, like we've mentioned before, like HGTV, here's your new couple.
100%.
Like it would be a hit. I would watch every episode. But outside of that, I just think the world of you guys, not only as incredible business people, entrepreneur, and your time in the military, I think y'all are just amazing, but also as parents, as friends. You guys truly are just a very special part of our lives. And I want to say thank you for taking the time to come and sit down with us. So this means
likewise.
a lot.
Thank you for having us.
And
oh my God.
before we go, tell everybody again your website, where they can follow you, all those things. We'll put it in the post as well, but just so they know where they can get a glimpse of all this.
JenWoodhouse.com and at Jen Woodhouse on all of the social platforms.
Yeah, find her. She's on every single one of them. And I can't wait to see your face more. You've been in some posts, but I will have my popcorn. I am ready for this to go down. Please put some behind the scenes of Adam.
My face is the least attractive part of me and of everything I can contribute.
I want behind the scenes, though. I want to see.
It's the personality people go after anyway, right?
So I'm going to tell you straight up, if I could get her to post all the outtakes that we've got of hers, hilarious.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
For those of you who watch this in the future, seeing it now doesn't matter. I'm telling you right now, she is not nearly as put together, and it's wonderful because you look at her now and the travel and the momming and the husband, the wifing and the all the things that she does. You're like, I can't live up to that.
No, that's not true at all. There is no balance. There is absolutely no balance. If I'm winning in one aspect, I'm completely failing in another, for sure.
That's not true, because she really wins all the time.
No, it's not.
But Watching the
while I'm doing
outtakes-
my projects, the kids are eating a sleeve of saltines. There's
saying
no
they're-
such thing.
So you're saying they're fed.
Well, I actually think balance is a figment of
It
people's
doesn't exist.
imagination.
Yeah.
It's all in one way or the other, especially when you want to do something in an entrepreneurial aspect. I mean, it's all the time, and it is everything you got, and it's what you eat and dream, and like.
When you say outtakes, and we talk about a lot of times, what you see on social media is not always what really is happening in real life.
It never is.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
100%.
You should talk about that one that I had a pneumonia, and so I had him build, and I was supervising him, and the drawers didn't even open and
That is inaccurate.
and I was like, you know what?
That is inaccurate.
They
I was like, it's just good enough for pictures. It's
They
fine.
absolutely opened with a great deal of force. They opened just a little bit.
Didn't.
So,
Anyway.
but
I
to
love
understand
you
that the view of that is Jen sitting inside the house with the storm door shut. And this is in the garage, and I'm in the garage, and I have sanded enough wood. I probably should have used a saw. Just saying. It was at least 4 2x4s, 8-footers of sawdust, and it is head to toe on me. I'm like, is that good? And she's like, now move to the finish sander. It's like I thought I was finished sanding. We weren't speaking the same language.
That is excellent.
Great.
Well, thank you guys again for joining us. We could stay here all night, just
really
FYI.
could.
Like this
really
really
could.
could be a show,
You
guys.
give me a mic and an opportunity.
You guys don't know what you're asking for.
I got so much more
I
material.
noticed Jen got super nervous when I said, "Do you want to bring Adam with you?" She was like,
I never know what's going to happen.
I am 87% sure Brittany has had my mic muted the entire time. If not, Brittany,
Brittany's over here laughing. You can't see her, but she's over here
she's over
dying
here
laughing.
you might need an assistant. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you guys so much. So
Thanks
make
so much
sure,
for having us.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Loved it.
So fun.
Yes. So make sure to follow them. You'll want to watch. I promise. It is impressive what they have created. And so thank you all for joining us. This has been Hometown Hustle with your host, Brittany Grafton, and myself. So thank you.